Good afternoon, everyone. As board chair, I would like to welcome you to the 2022 Annual General Meeting of the Manufacturing Safety Alliance of BC. Before we begin, on behalf of the MSABC, I would like to acknowledge that I am speaking to you on the unceded territories of the Kwantlen and Katzie First Nations in the Coast Salish region of British Columbia. Carrie Pratt will act as recording secretary of the meeting. Anna Ruwinska is the scrutineer of the meeting. The BC Societies Act requires that members be given at least 14 days notice of any general meeting. The notice of this annual general meeting, attached information circular, and form of proxy were mailed to the members of the association on April 28, 2022. Therefore, proper notice of the meeting has been given. The quorum requirements for general meeting of the members of the association are outlined in the bylaws of the association. The bylaw defines the quorum to be 10% of all eligible members. The scrutineer has confirmed that a quorum is present. With adequate notice of the meeting and meeting quorum, we can now move forward with the relevant business for the AGM. Here's how the voting process will work. To make or second a motion, click the raise hand icon in the webinar controls. Click raise hand again to lower your hand. When asked to cast a vote, click yes or no in the online poll that will appear on your screen. I will indicate whether a motion has been passed or rejected. If you have any questions, please submit them through the chat field at this time. The first item on this agenda is the election of 7 people to act as the directors of the association. They will join the 7 existing directors on the board whose term of the office does not expire until next year's AGM. Together, they will constitute a full slate of directors as supported by the association bylaws. I am advised by the nominations committee that the following people have been nominated to act as directors of the association. This recommendation of the nominations committee has been accepted by resolution of the association directors. You have the candidates' information in your AGM perspectives. Joe Doyle, David Fagan, Darren Gibson, Keith Driver, Mark Bunce, Ken Smith, and Michael Simone have agreed to be elected as directors for a term of 2 years expiring at the 2024 AGM. The election of the 7 persons nominated by the nominations committee and approved by the directors will be conducted by a single vote. I will now call for a motion to approve the election of 7 nominees as directors of the association. Is there a hand raised?
My hand was raised.
Okay, 4 yeses. And we have a second.
Chris Inkster.
Thanks, Chris. We are now voting on the motion to elect 7 nominated persons as directors of the association for a term of 2 years. Your votes will be collected through an on-screen poll. If you are in favor of the motion, please vote yes. Okay, the affirmative has it, and the motion is adopted. The 7 nominees are elected as directors of the association for a 2-year term. Congratulations to all the new and returning board members. The next item on the agenda is the review of the audited financial statements of the association for its recently completed fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. You will find a copy of the financial statements at the back of the annual report. A link to the report was included with the prospectus in your digital invitation. Sean Reed, partner at KPMG Enterprises, the association's auditor, is in attendance today and available to answer any questions which may be posed by any of the members. Are there any questions? There being no questions regarding the audited financial statements of the association, we will move on. The annual report provides you with a detailed account of the association's accomplishments in 2021. The following video, premiered at this morning's town hall, outlines some of the year's highlights.
The challenge that our members faced over the last year, obviously with the floods, the fires, the pandemic, we at the Alliance were really focused on making sure that we had the tools, the resources, the outreach, the advocacy, which was really important, working with the public health to give clear direction and support around vaccinations, around proper PPE and protection mechanisms that needed to be in place.
I don't think that there's been a disaster that hasn't hit us in the last year. Our facilities flooded, we have had heat domes, we have had COVID, and then COVID came back again. The strategy for us is to remain resilient. I think we've all had to demonstrate a lot of grit in between 2021 and 2022.
The industry has faced challenging circumstances over the past year. And our role here at the Alliance was to help support their success, ensuring that they have emergency preparedness and contingency plans in place as a supporting organization.
It was very important for us to up our standards here, and we needed some help. And we had to partner with an organization that could teach, coach, and train us, and that organization was MSA.
You know, when it came to some of the newest challenges around the heat wave and the floods, our job was to get in, figure out the details, disseminate that, and get it out to our members as fast as possible so they could do what they do. That's manufacturing, that's producing goods.
We've known the impact of climate change for many years. As we've seen last year here in BC, it really has been life-changing. And for us as an organization, our role is helping support industry through those challenges as we've experienced by ensuring they have the right programs in place that include emergency preparedness and contingency planning, and that we practice those plans.
I feel that the stresses and the anxiety around the supply chain conditions in British Columbia and across the globe are probably impacting us more than COVID ever did.
Manufacturers were also, crippled by the supply chain around the world, just getting their own products. And so we worked as advocates for various levels of government to help them along and give them some support that they needed by opening up dialogue or conversations to let government know how these supply chain shortages were affecting their businesses and ultimately jobs.
We're having challenges procuring PPE. We are having challenges procuring ingredients, components, packaging. The supply chain has had a measurable impact. It is a challenge and it is a constant battle.
The psychological toll we've all endured over these past 3 years has really been extraordinary. And as an organization last year, we took a thoughtful approach in bringing industry stakeholders, experts, labor, and partnership associations together to shape a strategy over the next 3 years to enact real change, using an inclusive approach, industry-led, that integrated OHS within the concepts of psychological health and safety.
I used to believe it was purely a personal thing. If you had some challenges with mental health, you dealt with it outside of work. Work was here to support you in the sense of providing benefits and things like that. But I've learned now that mental health is absolutely a work safety issue, because if you're distracted, if you're having struggles with mental health, it can easily turn into a physical health issue.
I see for the future of safety culture in BC is through the work that we'll be doing with helping leaders define their safety management systems through an active engagement program, working with all levels of their team, being able to educate through resources, tools, coaching, mentorship. It's a really key part of driving safety culture long term. Our goal as the Alliance is to lower the injury rate, and I think by engaging management and leadership in a safety culture way of thinking, BC can ultimately be the safest place to work in all of Canada.
In recognition of retiring board members, I would now like to invite Lisa McGuire, CEO of the MSABC, to speak.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to recognize the long and dedicated service of 3 retiring board directors, Ryan Nielsen, Craig Ogilvie, and Chris Inkster, who are retiring from the board after 2, 6, and 6 years of service respectively. Thank you all for your dedication and support toward advancing the vision of the Alliance that aspires to create a culture that brings workers home to their families healthy and safe every day. Without leaders like you to contribute to our mission, could not achieve the accomplishments we have made over the years. Thank you for being part of an organization that works to build a better place for our teams, our families, and communities, both for today and many tomorrows. I hope that we'll see your leadership in other health and safety leadership roles in our province. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. And I would also like to express my sincere gratitude for the mentorship and contributions of Chris, Craig, and Ryan. Unfortunately, Ryan wasn't able to make it today, but I would like to offer the floor to Chris and Craig to make a few words or to say a few words. Chris, if you wouldn't mind, I'll start with you.
Thank you, guys. It's hard to believe it's been 6 years. And that picture, I don't know, I've probably aged quite a bit since that thing was taken, but I do have a few notes written down. Let me know if I ramble on here. I'll try to make it quick, but just going over my experience with MSABC and the board members. We've been in business. I've been in business with my business partner since 2005. We started out with 3 people, and we now have roughly 115 working in 2 different companies, and both companies have pretty extreme risks from a safety perspective. Going back to when I was in high school, I worked with my dad at a steel plant, and he lost his ring finger in a workplace accident. And then when I was probably 24 or 25, he was injured at another workplace accident where he was permanently retired. He nearly died, and he had a severe brain injury. And he's never been the same since. So I've seen the impact of injury and what it does to families. Fortunately, we didn't lose him, and I know many people have. It's just, it does impact not only the people that get injured, but the people that are living with them or around them. And it's for years on end. So anyways, back in 2015, we started our core journey. We started, I can't remember what it was called. It was a shared resource between like 5 or 6 different companies. We shared a MSABC advisor, and it was just a huge, we didn't have the resources to have a full-time person, and having that program through MSABC was really what got us on our way. We did the gap analysis, and we decided to push for core, or for OC, sorry. And so we started on our way, and then in the fall of 2015, we experienced a near fatal injury. And it was with, the help of our people and MSABC that we got through that. And I still, to this day, get teared up when I talk about it. It's just been, it's been a really hard thing to go through. But again, nothing like what it's like to go through for somebody that's on the receiving end of it. But, we had decided already to go down this path, and we received a ton of support from MSABC and Lisa and her team. And I had, when I was asked to join MSABC, I'd never volunteered in my life, never contributed anything other than, stuff for my personal interests. So it was an interesting thing to decide to volunteer some time to a really important endeavor. And I'm really glad that I did. So like Lisa said, 6 years later, we are core certified, OC certified. We've been through multiple successful internal, external audits. And we have the bones in place to provide a safe place for people to work. And having people go home to their families at the end of the day is something that I take very seriously. My son works for Freeport, and I need to know that we have the structure in place to make sure that everybody's looked after, but I have an additional personal interest in making sure that he's taken care of. I was always really proud of the fact that OC was ranked at the highest of the HSAs in terms of meeting their WorkSafe requirements for course certification. I was proud of that, and I talked about that whenever I could. It made me feel like, as a business, that I was utilizing the highest rated tool that I could. I felt like I didn't take the easy way out, and that was important to me. I was asked to join the BC Safety Charter Steering Committee, and we got that moved over to the Executive Health and Safety Council, where I spent a year as vice chair. I've since resigned from that, but that was I was on numerous, different committees at my time there, including governance, which again had never been exposed to in my career, and I was very thankful for that. Attending multiple webinars as guest speakers, including the Mental Health Steering Committee, which I was thankful to be a part of. Mental health, as mentioned in the video, is, I think at the end of the day, COVID was what it was, but supply chain, mental health, and just people issues in general were way more impactful negatively to the business than COVID ever was. I personally was a recipient of the Ben Hume Award, which was a massive honor. Leveraging MSABC for their abundant resources at many steps along the way, guarding against complacency. Getting OC certification is just literally the first step. It's just the start of the journey, and we're nowhere near where we need to be, but by having aligned with the MSABC, we've got lots of resources, and we'll continue to leverage that to develop this culture of continual improvement, and just finally, just learning from Lisa and learning from the other board members. As much as I wanted to contribute, I also got a lot of value out of it personally. I took away things. People have often called them nuggets of knowledge, but I learned a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. So thank you to all the board members, past, present, and of course Lisa. And that's, thank you for the 6 years. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Your words are always very thoughtful and authentic, and we wish you success in the future on your safety journey.
Thank you.
You bet. And I think your picture, you look better now than in your picture 6 years ago, for what that's worth. Over to you, Craig.
Yes, I've definitely aged. I've got a lot more grey hairs than what I did in that picture. Still, I've probably got the same amount of hair, to be honest. No, I think again, 6 years have flown by. I think from a MSABC board, there's been a lot of change, a lot of challenges. COVID being a great example of how well MSABC have been able to adjust and support and working with WorkSafe closely to really kind of help organizations basically come through a pandemic. For me, it's been a growth strategy without a doubt. There's been a lot of education. Similar to what Chris said, we're learning off a whole bunch of different people from different industries. Obviously, safety for me is a paramount success factor, not just in home but in the workplace. And again, to echo what Chris said previously, it's people going home safe to their families is something we all must strive to do. So again, just really improving safety. I look at the accomplishments at the companies I've worked for, with Conagra and now BC Tree Foods. Both companies, we've gone through the core certification process, and we're seeing huge benefits on going through that process, making sure we have the procedures and management systems in play to really allow us to really be as safe as you could possibly be, and then not rest on our laurels, to continue strive for improvement, to make sure we get better and better, because our ultimate goal is to make sure no one gets hurt. The impact on people's lives following a workplace injury is devastating, as we all know. So again, that's something none of us want to be part of. I have been part of some pretty severe injuries, and it's not a pleasant experience. So again, we don't want anyone to go through that process. Again, just going back to the board, I think the evolution, the governance, the training, the learning opportunities, the board has definitely developed and grown from when I first joined. Yeah, and then just from a personal perspective, although I'm retiring at this young age after 6 years, I'm willing to offer my support whenever I can. Like from a mentorship perspective, for me, it's now my turn to also try and give back as much as I can. So whenever you guys need some extra support or whatever, then I'm definitely a supporter of MSABC and what they're trying to do. So I'll definitely be there supporting and helping wherever I can. Thank you all.
Thanks, Greg. We certainly have a lot of shared connections in the industry, and I know your reputation precedes you in terms of your pursuit of excellence. So thank you for all your contributions over the years, and we'll surely miss that Scottish accent. We'll have to make do. All right, thanks, Chris and Greg. Congratulations on reaching your full 6-year commitment, and as I said before, continued success on your safety journey. With that being said, is there any other business which may be properly brought before this meeting? There being no further business, I will request a motion to end the meeting.